Welcome to the Spare Parts Racing Podcast, your podcast for all things motorsports. With your hosts, Sean Chavarella, Stephen Clary, and Taylor Moore.
Hear that music?
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Spare Parts Racing. I'm your host, Sean.
I'm Steven.
And I'm Taylor.
And friends, this week we have, I think, quite a bit of news to talk about. We have the Las Vegas Grand Prix, which was surprisingly eventful, I think. We have the conclusion to the Drivers' Championship to talk about after that race, and what has happened in the Constructors' Championship with 2 races remaining. And the biggest news of the week is that F1 is allowing Cadillac in.
Wow.
So
I don't think we ever thought that we would see the day.
yeah, and we'll talk about that. But to start, let's start with Las Vegas. Okay, here's the question. Who stayed up for it?
No way. I did not stay up for this.
Well, we watched the first 10 laps together.
Yep.
I think I made it home and made it to lap 25-ish, about halfway.
Okay.
And I was like, eh.
I went about 3 quarters to go, and after about 3 quarters, I'm like, okay, it's 2:30 in the morning. I'm tapping out.
Yeah, I got home from the rally event in Bancroft at like 11 and promptly went to sleep. I did not even try.
That is why you fail.
Okay, last year I stayed up. This year I did not have this duty, but I did watch it the next day.
Historically, I'm the worst for staying up, so I really can't
Yes.
say.
You are. I was going to say, like, what are you talking about? You never stay up.
In my defense, I blame Sarah.
Why?
Because she's the wife. And if I get her up, and if I wake up in the middle of the night to watch a race, she gets upset. And you know what they always say about happy wife. And
You didn't have to get up, though.
Hold
we were
on.
already
what
awake.
Are you talking about?
oh, that's why this one was easy for me.
Oh,
Could you
you're
not
saying
go
in
to a
general.
different
Okay.
room to watch this?
I'm
I
talking
don't know
about in
if this
general
excuse is
racing. I'm talking
standing.
about in general these late races. I usually suck at, but this one I was good.
This one you were good. Yes.
Because someone's got to carry that torch for the team.
Okay.
But yes, I just noticed something actually. We're all kind of wearing like top 3 colors here of teams. Taylor's in red.
Oh.
I'm in the orange.
I didn't
I got the
even
McLaren
notice
orange, and Steven, I don't know, are we going with gray for Mercedes or blue for Red Bull?
Both,
Okay. Fence sitter.
I guess.
Both make sense.
Black for Mercedes. I
Okay,
guess?
yeah,
I
okay.
don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
yeah,
know.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Anyway, Las Vegas race. Because everyone, I guess, is watching now, whether you stayed up or not. What's everyone's thoughts on it?
Honestly, interesting. I feel like, honestly, what I was most surprised about was that Russell maintained his lead from like the start to the finish. The fact that he won the
He
race.
went wire to wire, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More or less. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like 1 or 2 laps where I think Hamilton had a lead
The pit stop cycle. Yeah.
just
But,
on the
like, yeah, the
cycle.
pit stop
That's
cycle.
that's the only place he lost it.
Yeah.
After
So-
the first couple
Pretty
laps.
impressive.
Yeah.
At the first
very
couple laps?
impressive.
Not really challenged.
No. And honestly, Hamilton driving from like P10 to P2.
If Hamilton starts
Amazing.
P2, he wins that race.
Yes, I agree. He had amazing pace. Like, honestly, good for him. Driver of the day. I don't actually know if he won driver of the day, but he should have. I think he did, but really well done.
Yeah, I think my bet of the weekend was like $5 in Hamilton for P3. Or just to podium from back in 10th. Great choice.
Good choice. Very good choice.
Nice.
Max is champion.
Yep.
Everyone pretty much saw that coming. Good for him. But Ferrari was an interesting team for Vegas. They
Go
had
on.
So first off, for Sainz to get a podium, good for him. But wow, did they have issues. They were Ferrarying so hard. I'm surprised they finished the race.
Okay, go on. What
They
did
were
they
just
do?
being too chaotic. Well, with with Sainz's pit stop, right? The one where they were like, okay, box, confirm pit, box. Stay out. I'm like, bro.
That was stupid.
So stupid and dangerous. So dangerous.
Because like they were too focused on the position swap by the two of them. Because apparently Leclerc's tires fucking sucked. Yeah, it did. Leclerc's tires were terrible. He fell off, and then like Sainz swapped, and then Sainz was like, I need to pit. Yeah. And then because both him and Hamilton had passed Leclerc at this point, Leclerc was struggling, and then Sainz was struggling.
Yeah, they were both struggling, and then at some point, I honestly can't remember when, I think the team had said that they had told Carlos not to attack.
And he did
but
anyway.
I think he did anyway. And then Leclerc, of course, was getting like frustrated with that. So I think I would love to be a fly on the wall for those conversations after the race.
Okay, if we're talking Ferrari, one, I don't think they did that bad. You know, it was still a good race, still 3-4. Puts them within 44 points of McLaren. We'll get to that conversation later.
Mm-hmm.
But all they did was that one mistake with Sainz. Okay, I get it. Maybe it's late at night, you weren't paying attention, or you didn't realize where they were on the circuit when you made these calls. Again, those kind of things can happen. You got away with not being penalized or anything for that, which is miraculous.
How did that happen? Because like
they
that gets called,
but they never enter the pits.
Okay, but like you're crossing a solid two solid white lines there.
Okay,
you are in the pit.
Counterpoint, Montreal. If you go off into that, you can come back onto the track. It's okay.
Just looked really close to the
counterpoint to the counterpoint, Austria.
Agreed. However, Austria is set up in the double turn so that you can't cross it. And it's made for safety. And
we've seen it.
But they have the rule for the weekend, you can't cross it. Obviously, for this Vegas one, they didn't think anyone would do that, so they didn't have a penalty in place.
Well, no, apparently the new race director just didn't note it.
Well,
and then therefore the stewards couldn't do it. That's the thing. No, there was no investigation because, like, I remember it was like 2 or 3 laps later. It was like, yeah, we'll probably see something soon. Another 2 or 3 laps goes by. How come we haven't seen anything yet? There's nothing, no investigation, and the stewards are probably all sitting there like, well, we're sitting here, we're waiting. We haven't had to do anything since the start of the race.
I mean, also like. 2 things I want to say to that. One, was it really needed a penalty? Because you kind of penalized yourself in the action.
I think,
like, you slowed down to enter the pits, and you just no one's around. You're not putting anyone else in danger. You're just fucking over the race.
But at the same time, I think if you're gonna say, well, it's a huge safety thing, which has been the prevalent talking point out of all this, make it a black and white thing of as soon as you come into those lines. And they have the force majeure caveat to it. As soon as you cross into those lines, you're committed. That should be what it is. Because they like, I listened to a thing where it was like, oh, there's an imaginary bollard there in certain cases like this, and it's like, okay, but like, you can't specifically say where that bollard starts. Basically, F1 or the FIA, whoever's gonna look at this, needs to just take out the gray zone. Make it easy.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be that hard. But it's always a thing when it comes to pit entry. Like, look at Indy with Indianapolis. You have the line there for the pits. Guys will dive into there and dive out. And
they made a rule to adjust for that because they said you can't do that.
No. The issue with the Indy one was diving below the pit wall. But you can still dive down that line. No, because the line at Indy sticks out. Tracks here and the line goes to the side. So that really awkward line. The point being is, this is always a thing with pit entry, and unless you actually have a commitment cone or something like that, which NASCAR, to be fair, I think does right when it comes to pit entry, is that this is pit entry. If you come in there, you have to pit. If not, you're bailing out. So maybe everyone should take a book out of NASCAR.
Yep.
And do they actually call it the commitment cone?
Yes. It's a little cone. It's a pimple
Okay,
cone.
that's fabulous. They
So
really
they're
need
like-
to do that then.
It's literally like a cone on a stick.
I don't even know if it's
I
like
love
it used to be like a little simple like little like cone, like a little traffic cone.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a cone on a stick, so that way it doesn't get blown off the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the-
Well, all I'm going to say is I agree with Steven on this one. I think it should have been maybe looked at. I don't like it. I'm honestly shocked
okay.
it also
I'll
wasn't
agree.
penalized.
Especially
but-
I'm trying to justify why it couldn't have been and things we could do. But yeah,
Y-
it probably
Oh, yeah.
should have been a penalty.
Yeah,
However, you
should
know,
have.
new guy, you know, it happens.
New
We'll
guy.
give him a
Yeah.
break.
Who cares if it's a new guy? The FIA has been inconsistent all year anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So we're all good. Not a problem at all.
Until I already see it happening. So you already made reference to how close the constructors is. It's going to come down to those 5 points because I think a 5-second penalty drops Sainz back behind Verstappen, which is a 5-point difference. I'm just waiting for it to be a 5-point difference between McLaren and Ferrari at the end of the season, which would be
I would
fucking
love that.
hilarious.
That is fair.
That would be so funny.
Another thing I was going to mention actually, because I guess from talking about the penalties, you said nothing from the start. The start of the race was great, and I think was it Lawson and Magnussen, who I think had one of the best sequence of battling through corners, and that low angle shot of the cars like stuck side by side coming through like, oh, that was one of the shots I think F1 needs to use for promotion.
Yep, 100%. I was shocked that
They didn't
no one
touch.
wrecked out.
Honestly,
That was like some of the best wheel-to-wheel racing we've seen in a long time from
Yeah.
two midfielders that, well, I won't put it too much on Lawson. Magnussen has gotten into it sometimes. So the fact that it was him involved and it was super clean with a younger guy, that was surprising.
yeah, very good racing. And also the start of the race, the Leclerc start was great.
Yeah.
Oh, and him
It
and
was.
Russell battling at the start was amazing too, down the
Yep.
down the
It was a
strip.
really good battle.
If
Yeah.
Leclerc
Wait-
gets by, does the race change for Russell?
Probably.
Because a big
Yeah.
part of that is obviously you can see in these cars you're chasing, your tires do not last. We saw it
Yeah,
in Baku.
I think-
We see it in this race. Like the chasing car is such a disadvantage.
Yeah, and he could have run into a lot of trouble if Leclerc had gotten in front of him. So it could have been a very different race.
Well, and you could see that the Ferrari was better on the straights too. So through the turning, twisting parts, while we just raved about the battles, it would be a lot harder to get alongside, I think, for Russell without wrecking at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
So-
true. I mean, there was a close call. Like they were very close to each other on one of the turns when they were battling. So
For what, Leclerc and Russell?
yeah,
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. they were like maybe it looked like they were like maybe an inch away from each other on their tires, but
And that really was like the only fight for the lead for the whole race was that one. Because
Yeah.
then Leclerc fell back, then Sainz fell back, then Hamilton pit soon after that, and then you had those guys charging through, and Russell had such an easy race. And like really, I think it's a surprise that we had a McLaren 1-2. Like I don't think anyone predicted going into this weekend the top team would be. Did I say McLaren? I meant Mercedes.
You said McLaren.
I know. I
that's
realized
okay.
that.
We knew you
I
meant
know.
Mercedes.
We wouldn't, like no one would have guessed the top car would have been Mercedes this week.
No, I don't think any of us actually said in our prediction like 2 weeks ago that a Mercedes car would be up there.
We never had Mercedes anywhere close. It was Ferrari, McLaren, or Red Bull.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or sorry, Max. We
Well,
knew Perez wasn't going to
apparently
be there.
McLaren has been a little kkneecapped with their fake DRS trick they had, where the rear their
Mhm.
wings would open a little bit.
Aww.
They've lost some straight line speed. It seems the Red Bulls didn't have straight line speed. The Alpines sure as hell did.
Until they didn't.
Well, you sent me the thing. It was about Gasly's car.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that, Taylor?
No.
So
Did I?
Gasly apparently his car, like the reason he had a DNF, like because his gearbox failed,
Oh, yes.
was because the car went too fast in the straight.
Interesting.
It went so fast with the slipstream that he had from, I think it was Sonoda in front of him.
That it broke the gearbox?
It blew up the gearbox.
Wow. Interesting.
I don't think we've seen that in a very long time for an F1 car
Wow.
going
Yeah,
too
that's
fast.
Yeah, it went too fast. I mean, honestly, it's kind of like a silver lining, right? Like considering the horrible start to the season that Alpine had, it's kind of funny that, I mean, like it sucks like it ruined Gasly's race, but it's kind of funny that it went so fast after being so slow.
Yes. Like I don't know what their actual top speed was there, but you know,
Trying to find it.
if
Hang
they
on.
had the top speed of an F1 car this year, that'd be really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Where was it? Yeah, so he was going 361 in 8th gear, 13,000 RPM.
And it
Wow.
went poof.
And yeah, so it's really funny looking at the graph from Formula Data Analysis. Fantastic page, by the way, for like in-depth look at like charts. You see where it just like takes off from the lap before on the rev chart, and right as it peaks, explodes, and then 2 seconds later, no power. And you can
Oof.
see it all in the telemetry. I love that page so much.
Yeah, it is pretty good. But yeah, anyway, yeah, so you had a McLaren, which is again, Mercedes 1-2, Ferrari 3-4, 5 was Max.
Yep.
What's Max?
Okay, interesting.
McLaren 6-7.
Was McLaren 6-7? Okay.
Yep.
Who's next?
You like
I
it?
would have to stop, man. I don't remember the rest.
You don't know who's next? Might surprise you, might not. He sort of finished in the place he started.
Paris?
Nope.
Oh. Paris made the points, didn't he?
Nope.
Really? He didn't?
Or
Oh
wait, no,
my
sorry, he did.
God.
I was looking. Sorry, he did.
Oh,
I was
thank
looking at the
God.
wrong number.
Okay.
Oh, for a second I was
Paris
like,
got in.
how
Oh,
is
so
he
was-
still driving?
So yeah,
At this
it
point in
was,
the night, I kind of don't remember a whole lot because of,
Mad delirium.
yeah.
Still recovering
Oh,
in
yeah.
your old age.
I mean, Sarah was
I
asleep
see
at
it.
this point watching, so like I was like, ugh.
Yeah, I realize I said that, and I'm older than both of you. So
Yeah, you old fuck.
You're older by Sean by like a month. It's not
Month
that
and a
big of a
half.
difference.
Yeah, you old
Month
fuck.
and a half. Ooh.
Nico Hulkenberg was 8th.
Okay.
Sonoda was 9th. Perez was 10th.
Yeah. 11th, so close to Alonso. That one I remembered.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, then you had Perez, Alonso, K-Mag, Guan Yu Zhou, which was surprising. Colapinto, Stroll, Lawson, Ocon, Bottas, and then Albon and Gasly, DNF.
I want to do an in defense of Stroll moment.
No.
Oh boy, here we go.
Did you see what happened to him?
What happened to him?
They had the worst
He had
pit
a slow
stop.
pit stop.
Mhm.
Or was that?
Oh, I
'cause they
did
had-
see this.
They didn't have
was
the
a word-
tires. He stopped and they had to run get the
Ugh.
tires. It was one of those pit stops.
Oh.
That cost you like 10 seconds right there.
It was like the Sainz pit
complete-
stop worst case scenario thing where because
Yes.
it wasn't okay. So going back to the pit lane thing, it was they called Sainz in, told him to stay out because they were like,
We're not
shit,
ready."
we're not actually ready to
Yeah.
pit.
They didn't have the tires and the crew ready.
So Stroll was just showing everyone, here's what could have happened.
Exactly. He was just doing a good demonstration for everyone.
Yeah. So
Oh,
the fact that he was
boy.
on the same lap then is kind of amazing.
Oh, that's
See,
rough.
Stroll's amazing driver right there. Great
Sure.
recovery.
Not at all what I said, but
No,
sure.
no. Okay, anyway. What else do we have for Vegas? Anything else? We can talk about
so-
Max.
Well, I mean, he won his 4th
Yeah.
world championship. No big deal. Going full
In a row.
Full Vettel on us. Can't wait till he moves to Ferrari or some shit. And then Ferrari sucks. and then tries to use illegal engines or something.
Okay. Shh.
Yeah, so 4 straight world championships for Max. Does it with 2 races left.
Yeah, tighter than we thought it would be.
Well, when he won, what was it, 4 of the first 5 races?
We thought this was going to be over so
Yeah.
fast.
We're like,
Yep.
all right.
It was literally just that PTSD Vietnam meme. That was the entire F1 world. Exactly. Good job, Sean. I know you have PTSD too. But yeah, I think this year quickly turned and sort of going into a year in review already with 2 races left, which is kind of saddening. But after you crown a world champion, kind of get there.
Mhm.
It went from being like a oh shit, here we go again to no, this was actually a pretty good season. Multiple winners who won multiple races each.
Yep.
Made it a very interesting fight down to the end where even Leclerc was technically in it.
Mathematically not eliminated.
Yep. So, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Made Max work for this one.
with the Mercedes one too, this is the first time ever 4 teams have had a 1-2 finish in a season.
Which is insane.
Wow.
But
That
also
is
It's
nice.
been a really good season.
Yeah.
It's been a really good competitive season, and it's been so good to see. Even though I feel like of the past, I'd say the last 2 years when Red Bull was kind of really dominant, I would say that this was like the first one since Abu Dhabi, even though that's very questionable, debate, whatever, that Max really had to work for and worked through multiple problems with the Red Bull car, kind of stalling halfway through the year.
He went like 10 races with a win.
Yeah. The Red Bull started off strong, and then I think their progress, I think what we saw was the reflection of the penalty that they got for the cost cap and that limited tunnel time. I think maybe we were seeing, the effects of Adrian Newey leaving. But yet Max drove that car beyond what it was capable of.
Definitely. If Max is not in that car, I don't think the other driver in that car is champion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have a way closer fight in maybe the top of the championship in the constructors, or even for drivers overall. It could be a 3-way fight anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, we've pointed out before that it's right after Miami, right after Newey leaves, that the car sort of starts going off a cliff.
Yep.
And now I guess it's taken this long to figure out, okay, here's where we get it to be just good enough week in, week out, where we can bank some points. I think it's also, we're seeing Max mature after his previous 3 world championships, knowing I don't need to win every single race now. I have
He
a
had a
cushion.
smart drive.
It's,
He had a very smart drive this week.
No, but that's been no, it's not just this week though. It's this entire stretch since back in May in Miami, where it's just drive it smart.
Yep.
Maximize your damage, or minimize the damage that you're taking from Norris banking however many points. And that's all he's had to do. And I think this week especially though, because you saw him multiple times just be like, go past me, man. I don't care until Lando Norris is on my gearbox. You just go past. I'm not going to fight with you. I'll fight with him, because that fight actually matters.
Yeah.
And I think it's a different mentality in Max, like you said. It's that maturing of a driver, and it's figuring out what you need to be this multi-time world champion, especially in a situation where you have to fight for it.
Yep.
The last 2, not a whole lot of competition, right? The first one, big competition with Hamilton, and now coming up to a 4th one, you see the maturity over that first year, where it's, I don't need to wreck a guy and make contact. I can just race smart. I have my cushion. It's not life or death if I don't win this race.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too has to do with his overall kind of outlook on, I don't know, winning now. Like he doesn't have the like desire or ambition to like break records. I think the same way that Hamilton did. Like I think Hamilton really does want that 8th championship, and that's fine if that
Mhm.
matters to you, that's fine. But Max has like time and time again said it doesn't matter to him. Like he does not care. He does not have, the goals to be in the record books. He's just doing what he loves to do.
Yeah.
So I think there's a massive difference with somebody who wants it so badly. Like you end up making mistakes, right? But somebody who's kind of comfortable with where he is, he's just out there driving, doing what he does best.
And on the flip side, I think we saw a driver this week realize their own failures of a driver with their post-race messaging to their team and why they're not successful and why they don't win championships. And of course, I am talking about Charles Leclerc, who had a
Meltdown?
yeah, I guess it's the best way to describe it, a meltdown on the radio post-race. Honestly, mostly at himself, it sounds like. Like, saying,
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm too nice. Why I'm like, yada, yada. Like, blaming himself for whole. And like, yes, Charles, you are.
Yeah.
You are too
You
I'm
are
nice.
too
nice.
nice and it fucks me over.
Like,
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Charles, I'm sorry.
Be
Well,
an
and this is
asshole.
something we said exactly. This is something that we've said time and time again. And like Vettel said it best, you have to have an inner bastard in you. Or no, was that Will Buxton? It was Will Buxton who said that. But the only way, like that's the only way that you're going to be champion. If you don't have it, you're not going to get there.
Yeah. So, interesting to see the kind of that,
Yeah.
Max
He had a
Max
meltdown.
being a bastard and kind of chilling out, and Leclerc being chill and has to learn to be a bastard. So,
Well, this
You
is
have to learn how to balance it. And
You
I
do,
think
yeah.
that's the secret. Like that's the key.
well, and you think about how the last couple of years when we've had Hamilton and Max, and it's been like, well, they come off as sort of arrogant
yep.
in their. But as we said, you need to have that little bit of ego in you of I am the best, I am better than you, no one can touch me, blah blah blah. It's not a car, it's me. I drive the car, I make the car good.
Yeah, little bit of ego, not a lot
Yeah,
of bit.
little bit.
Look at
Yeah.
you, Lando.
Lando.
Yeah, arrogance with confidence and not entitlement.
Yeah,
Is
and
I
I
think
think
the
that's the
balance.
biggest difference is I think you can see it's the ego that's not supported by results. And I don't know, like I still think even though you have the results, I think the ego needs to be checked. Because I feel like Verstappen has a little bit of an ego. I think he really does like to be the best out there. But I think he doesn't necessarily thrive off of the whole winning thing. Like he doesn't need the label. He just wants to feel like he's doing the best that he can. So I think that is kind of the recipe. I think Hamilton in the past has been so like caught up in the numbers that he made mistakes.
But again, that's part of the ego, and I feel like that's kind of his MO is that he came rags to riches. He wants to prove that, he's always belonged. Being a young black man growing up in the world of Formula One, you kind of always had to prove yourself. And I feel that's definitely part of Lewis's
Yeah.
mentality is that fuck you, I won all the records. Versus
Yeah.
Max has kind of learned to put that ego in check. At least for this season.
Yeah.
Who knows what'll happen next year, but at least for this season, he's seen very
Who knows?
calm, very cool, locks down that championship, and
Yeah. Well, good for him. We'll see what happens next year, but good for him on his 4th championship.
yeah.
He
Speaking
gets
of
to enter the
egos,
record woods.
yeah.
Oh boy.
Speaking of egos and egos getting checked, F1 I think or FOM definitely checked Michael Andretti's ego,
Oh my gosh. So funny.
but also not really, because like at the end of the day, Andretti gets their team.
Kind of.
Okay, we'll get into the details and stuff. How I think this is going to all work out, but yeah, Andretti gets their team. I think F1's happy they get Cadillac. And also F1 gets Group 1001 as basically the backing and not just the name Andretti for these teams. So I think it's more of a financial thing too. So everyone seems to be happy. Everyone's happy with this arrangement. And in the end, we're going to get an 11th team added to the grid in 2025. So basically...
2026.
Sorry, 2026. Yeah, sorry. I'm already in, next year mode.
Yep.
2026, only a year away, basically.
Yep. Fantastic. Finally.
Yeah.
I know. However, I did see this lovely image, which I thought was hilarious.
What image? Are you sending it?
I sent it in the group chat.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, basically.
No, that's 100% what it is.
Basically.
Okay, yeah. So for anyone,
That's
it's the
100% what it
old Trojan horse meme, and it's Cadillac as the horse, F1 is the door, and Andretti inside the horse, which is that is exactly what this is. This was a way.
Well, when
for,
they
it's,
sorry,
it's a way
continue.
for Andretti to get their team. It's not called Andretti yet.
Yet, but which Andretti? Hold on.
Michael. Or Mario.
No, that's the son. Mario Andretti is like what, one of the directors or whatever.
Yeah,
Mario
he's like the head of the board or something. And like realistically,
yeah,
that's a symbolic position more than anything else.
Yep.
You're not going to
It
do
is.
a whole lot. Like,
No, but we just know that Michael's coming.
No,
we know
100%,
that this announcement's coming.
so the entire team is still going to be run out of Andretti's shop. They've put all the money and effort.
Yes.
So like it's not like Andretti is just like, oh, this isn't Andretti's team. It is entirely Andretti's team. It's just not called Andretti. It's and like it was what was it? What's his partner's name? Towley?
Dan Taurus.
Taurus, yes. Dan Taurus, who took over from Michael Andretti, like what, a month and a half ago?
September.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. Andretti stepped back. Taurus takes over. He is now head of all the operations. He's, let's be honest, rich as fuck with being the head of the Group 1001, which is part of Gamebridge and stuff like that. And, it makes sense to not have the company like Andretti run it, but the guy that sponsors that company run the whole operation, which I think there's a little bit of we trust him a little more with the money side of things. So
Yeah, but that just goes to show, like, this is 100% personal.
Yeah,
between FOM and Michael Andretti.
But Andretti still wins. He still gets his team. He still gets to make the money because it all gets to come out of his shop. So now I'm assuming what's going to happen is like it's essentially Andretti is essentially Sauber.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to sell they've broken ground on the factory in the UK.
Yep.
That'll get moved over to Cadillac. They probably won't move the Andretti International that's in Indianapolis over, but like all the other assets, the 2023 car that they had designed is going to Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
So that way they can start working on everything for 2 years from now.
But they're still using all the engineers and all the personnel that Andretti's already hired. It's just now being used by Cadillac, who then is using Andretti to use these.
So,
again, like it's.
So the joke I made was it's no longer Andretti Cadillac F1. It is Cadillac F1 brought to you by Andretti.
That is
that's literally
perfect. Yes.
That is literally all it is.
Brought to you by Andretti. Oh, but honestly, it's good news. It's it's growth in F1, which we've been begging for the past couple of years. So I'm excited to see how it's going to go in 2026.
I also wonder if Renault pulling out of doing an engine kind of forced F1's hand of being like, we can't have 3 manufacturers.
I mean, maybe. Like, isn't Audi still coming in as well? So technically they're at 5 now.
Okay, I guess.
Or will they not now, but in 2028, I think both. Cadillac and Audi are coming in, so then you'll go from 3 to 5 in 4 years, essentially,
Yeah.
or
So
3 years.
yeah, so that'd be nice. That's good health for the sport.
Yeah.
It'll be good for Cadillac, I guess, because I guess we have to call it Cadillac team, even though we know it's Andretti. It'll be good for them to get a couple years in the sport to
Yep.
develop and try a car and do all that. However, their benefit is next year they can do as much fucking testing and wind tunnel testing as they want because they're not part of F1 yet, so they can have unlimited resources to build a car.
Yep.
That you don't have, and then you get to then work within the F1 rules for the next season when you're actually finally in.
Yeah, they'll actually be at 6 because Ford. With Red
Oh
Bull.
yeah, Ford.
Yeah,
What about Ford?
I forgot about that disaster of a signing, but all right. Interesting. But yeah, so it'll be Ford, Audi, Cadillac, Mercedes, Ferrari, and Honda, right?
Honda's coming back.
Interesting. Yeah, with Aston Martin. So we're gonna see. We'll see. It's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's again, it's a long time coming. We've known for a while that F1 needs to add a team. We keep saying you have all these people wanting to come in, but you're not expanding the grid. Something's got to give, and I guess the thing that had to give was Michael, just stepping, not stepping down, but stepping to the side.
To the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to the side a little bit.
Which is frustrating, but at the same time, I'm glad we don't have to listen to the bullshit arguments anymore.
Yeah.
From whether it's from F1 or from the other team principals. Oh, I'm losing money. Yeah, shut up. You're fine.
But I also wonder if this was kind of part of the whole negotiating back and forth. Because when they rejected Andretti, what did they say?
No Andretti.
They said the Andretti name, the Andretti brand does not bring enough to F1. We'll be happy to have Cadillac, but we don't want the Andretti brand. Andretti goes, fine. We'll change how we're doing, I guess, this team model, this business model. It's now Cadillac, as Steven said, brought to you by Andretti.
Yeah.
So,
or maybe even not by Andretti, but don't be surprised or basically a year and a couple months from now, they're doing their big reveals or all the livery reveals. If that car, and I'm not saying Colton Herta is going to drive it, don't be surprised if it looks like a Colton Herta.
That's exactly what I
because
think.
it's going to be
Gamebridge as fuck.
Yellow, Gamebridge, Group 1001, whatever other titles you're going to slap on there, the Cadillac badge on there. It's going to look like that car.
Yeah, like you saw the rendering Cadillac put out.
Yeah.
Like there's the Cadillac rendering, which they literally just threw like the Cadillac logo and kind of like stylized it into the side of the car. It's not going to look anything like that. It is going to be so Gamebridge. It is going to be all that. 100%. It's
going to be funny.
Right.
Yep. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if they've put in some clause where Michael Andretti can't be involved, I really hope, I really, really hope Cadillac and Mario just get petty as fuck with this.
That would be great.
And just make it as Andretti as possible without putting the Andretti name. Hey, we're sticking to our end of the bargain. We just all our sponsors are coming from the US and the same group as Andretti. It's just a happy coincidence. That's all it is.
Speaking of also other happy coincidences, isn't it also just funny that in IMSA, who is Andretti's partner?
That's now Cadillac, isn't it?
Wayne Taylor Racing with Cadillac. Yes, it is.
Oh,
so
right.
they have basically a whole Cadillac alliance. But they still drive, I think, Chevy or Hondas in IndyCar. I'm definitely going to assume that's going to change in the future.
Yep.
Probably.
If they can find some way to balance out the Hondas on the other side, but Honda's talked about leaving before, so
that also could be an option.
Yeah. Did you guys see the A driver who is rumored to be
Colton Herta?
No.
Oh.
Mick Schumacher.
I mean, I would like to see that.
Yeah.
It just got
well,
announced. We're 2
apparently-
years away. It's not going to happen.
I know, but apparently there have been quite deep talks, I guess, of him signing on to that as one of the drivers for their entry in 2026.
What's Mick doing next year?
Probably still like a reserve.
I feel like he's still a reserve driver for Mercedes, I think.
You know, he clearly hasn't shown anything where it's like, yeah, he's definitely guaranteed an F1 seat.
Well,
He's had
because he's
multiple
with
young
Alpine
guys.
this year, right? In WEC.
Oh, right. Yes.
So I'd assume it's probably the same thing.
My thinking is just, maybe he should go over to IMSA and race for Wayne Taylor Racing. Get affiliated
used to-
with Cadillac. If that was to happen, I would definitely say, there might be some smoke to this fire. However, I think this is just mostly fan casting at this point for Mick Schumacher.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. The names that have been circulated already, so Mick, Herta,
Mick.
you're going to watch under a microscope. Just, Andretti's making some weird calls in IndyCar this year to get Colton Herta higher in the standings. That's kind of weird. Mick Schumacher is with Wayne Taylor Racing this weekend. Interesting. I feel like we're gonna everybody's gonna start blowing whatever out of proportion over the next 12 months.
Oh,
100%. If I'm Andretti, I actually pull 2 drivers from IndyCar.
Which one?
Alex Palou?
No.
No? Well, that was gonna be my choice.
Actually, you could do Palou. I was thinking O'Ward and Herta.
Yeah, I was gonna say Palou and Award.
Award, yes, I agree with. And Palou would be an obvious choice. Herta does not make my list of people who would be, I think, successful in Formula One.
However, the one thing I want to see in, let's say, 5 years' time from now, 2030, I want to see Cadillac, World Drivers' Champion, drivers being Sebastian and Oliver Weldon.
Oh, that'd be great.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
That would be imagine having a brother duo on your F1 team.
That would be interesting. That would be very interesting.
That would be your American storyline that you want.
Yes, that would be a documentary in the making.
I think
Netflix
they already
would
have.
eat that
They already
up.
have a documentary about them. It's
Yes,
called
they do.
Lionheart. Definitely pulls the heartstrings.
We don't do free promos, but it's a very good movie.
No,
Do
I will
watch.
definitely promo that thing because that was
For that
good
one, yes.
That's fair. Yeah, it was really good. Really well done.
Yeah,
Although I really can't imagine how Susie does it.
yeah. If those kids get put into F1, Jesus Christ, yeah, sure.
Oh.
Her heart would stop.
That poor woman's heart would just not function every time that they're in a car.
I'm just saying, it writes itself.
It is a good.
If we're
it-
living
it
in
is
the
good.
simulation that we are.
Oh gosh.
Well, they got a couple years to figure that out, so
Exactly. That's what I said.
let's
$20-30.
let's get whoever is in the car for the first 3 years. Let's get them to walk so that the Weldon boys can run.
Precisely.
Can run.
Because we didn't even talk about part of this deal, which is Ferrari's supplying the power unit for the first 2
Maybe.
years. Correct.
It
I thought it was
isn't
already
confirmed.
confirmed.
No. I think it's
Okay.
that it's either going to be Ferrari or I think Honda that supplies it
Okay.
because there is a rule in, I think it's like the F1 thing now where F1 can just tell you have to give these people an engine.
Okay. Interesting.
So because Alpine's gone,
Interesting.
we're down to 3. So, apparently you can just be voluntold you have to give someone an engine. If no team agrees to give someone an engine, the FIA can basically just say, okay, it's going to be you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
I
And
did
the
not know
assumption
that.
there is it's
Interesting.
going to be Ferrari or Honda because they have only 2 teams each. and then the rest are Mercedes. So it's one of those two have to give up an engine.
Yeah.
I think the idea with Ferrari is that they're used to working with new teams, looking at you Haas or, some of the other guys back in the day. So that's, I think, where that thinking comes from, but it hasn't been confirmed who's taking the engine.
Interesting. I guess we'll see. This isn't even technically official, but it's basically all but official at this point.
It's agreed in principle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Basically means we need some legalese in here to figure it all out and finalize it, but it's going to happen.
Attach a price tag on there.
Pay out all the teams for, whatever the fee is.
Yep. I just can't wait to see what Cadillac is paying and then see how much this number balloons and how little future planning we have once again for this. What do you mean we only increased it to 800 million? Why is it not $2 billion like our like we're valued at now?
That's fair.
Well, I don't know. You guys didn't think about it in 2012. You didn't think about it in 2024 again, you fucking idiots. I could 100% see that happening. Which would be hilarious.
And I think I believe really Michael Andretti will be named team principal of this team.
I sure as hell hope there isn't some stupid ass clause in there, because I could 100% see the pettiness being there for F1, considering again it's been almost a calendar year when it was announced in Texas that was it Liberty or whoever it was that was like, oh yeah, no, they're good to race from a technical standpoint. We're good. We can fit an 11th team on the grid.
Oh, it was the FIA.
Yeah, FIA. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can do it. It's fine. That's fine. I mean, we're already doing an 11th team next year for fucking Brad Pitt, so why not?
So yeah, it was the FOM had the issue with it.
Yeah.
Who own basically the rights holders of F1. And that's why the whole, oh well, Andretti doesn't bring enough to the table to make us bring them on.
They're not going to be competitive. Bullshit.
So we get Cadillac. Steven. We get Cadillac. You say the line. Brought to you.
Brought to you by Andretti.
Thank you. So it's a good thing. I think we can all agree.
Yeah.
And eventually, whenever Cadillac leaves because it costs too much money, the team will just be called Andretti.
Yep.
That would be hilarious. Hand it off in 2028 right away.
Well, they never said really who the ownership really of this is.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Like, Audi is joining F1. They're not buying out Sauber. Sauber still is the operator of the team. Just like how it was with Alfa Romeo. Just like how it is now with Kick Sauber. It was BMW Sauber. Andretti has its team.
Yeah.
But they're bringing in Cadillac. In 10 years' time, Cadillac may be gone. Andretti will still have its team.
Yeah.
That's the important part.
So in the end, Michael wins.
Good.
He just kind of had to disguise it, Be a little sneaky with it, the Italian way. I can make the joke. I'm Italian. It's fine.
Sure.
What?
I'm not Italian. I'm not going to say you can't.
That's what I thought. Anyway, anything else to talk about?
I think everything else we can leave for next week.
That's fair.
At this
That's
point.
Fair. Yeah. One last thing. Wicked, Gladiator, Moana.
Mm-hmm.
So we're having this conversation. Steven says you have to do it. You have to watch it as Moana and Wicked. Why, Steven?
Because it's moaned.
Okay, first off, no. Because it's wicked, not wicked. Right? So it would be moaned. Because it's
same thing.
It's not the same thing. Also, wicked sounds better.
Micked.
It's actually Mickey Mouse shows up. Hello.
I still think it would be moked.
Moked? Ooh,
Like if you
moked
do
makes
see
sense.
Moana, like if you did go and see like Moana and Wicked as your double feature. However, I saw Gladiator 2. So for me, it's Glicked. I will see Moana at a later date.
Also, can we stop this whole like Barbenheimer comparison again? Like everyone's trying to make it the next Barbenheimer thing. It can't be. It's not.
It's not. Well, first, okay, it can't be the next Barbenheimer because Wicked is just iconic in itself. And I'm gonna be real. Gladiator 2 was not that good. It was way too hyped for what it was.
Well, yeah, it's
so freaking long.
It's a sequel like 2 decades after the original.
Yeah, but like the preview looked so good, and honestly, the storyline, like the plot, very good marketing. The plot would have made a lot more sense if the gaps that they left in the movie weren't there. Like the plot was good on paper, and then the way that they did it, I was like, I'm so confused.
Was there any tie-in to the original Gladiator?
Yes. Oh, yes. Tons.
Okay.
No, tons. It is like, so basically it's, so y'all have seen Gladiator, right?
I rewatched it the other day just because.
Okay. So Lucius, the little boy.
Yep.
That's the main character of Gladiator 2.
Okay. Makes sense.
Oh,
that's
okay.
Pedro Pascal?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's Paul Mescal.
Okay.
Pedro Pascal is married to Lucius's mother.
Who dies?
I'm not saying anything.
It's in the trailer.
What?
Is it in the trailer?
She dies in the trailer?
I thought so.
Anyway.
Pedro Pascal's holding some body in the trailer. I assume it's his wife.
Oh, it's not. No.
Oh, okay.
Well,
anyway.
thanks for the spoiler.
I don't remember who it was.
Bullshit.
Anyway, it's not as good as the original. And it honestly, like, the plot just got at some point very weird and things weren't explained. And see it when it comes out on streaming.
Yeah, I think we'll have to definitely watch this and also do a conversation ourselves. I don't know if this is a podcast material or not, but I think we should talk about like sequels and original movies and like which one's better. Because there are movies that are better sequels.
Yes.
Yes. It honestly depends on the original, because sometimes the original is just like meh, and then the sequel comes out and you're like, wow, this is so much better than I expected because the original was meh.
I would say Top Gun Maverick is probably better than the original.
Oh my gosh, Top Gun Maverick is so good. Way better than the original.
Now, hot
Miles
take.
Teller.
Shrek 2 is better than the first Shrek.
Oh, that's a hot take.
That is. We'll say table this.
Okay,
table
okay,
this.
okay.
We'll need a full
Okay.
debate
That's an
for this in the
off-season,
off
Dad.
season.
That is. There is no off season anymore. Okay,
Wait.
it's like we don't even
That's
get
true.
we get like a month break and it's back into racing.
Okay, yeah, we got one.
That's
We
true.
got a race this weekend somehow in Qatar.
That's insane.
got- Yeah, and then I think it's a break, and then the last race in Abu Dhabi, so we can talk about this middle of December. Holy fuck, yeah!
Yeah, and then guess what? And then within like less than a month, you have Daytona.
It's Daytona. Fuck.
Right.
There is no off season
In
anymore.
January.
Yeah.
End of January is
You know what?
Daytona.
You know what? The end of
Yeah, less than a
Teardown.
month.
Yeah, the end of the Teardown podcast, they put it the right way. It's not an off season for the journalists that get to go to the tracks. It's just 3 months of not traveling,
Yeah,
Basically,
true.
yeah.
not traveling for work, because that's probably the only time you can travel with your family
Ooh.
if
Oh,
you're a NASCAR
probably, yeah.
reporter.
Oh, yeah, that season feels so long.
If you
Anyway,
could report any series, then what would you pick?
F1 easily.
F1.
Yeah, it has the best travel.
Honest,
Well, yeah, you get to travel. You get to travel worldwide. You get access
Pitbull.
to, yeah, Mr. Worldwide. You get access to some of the biggest races that are hard to like. You don't have to pay for Monaco. You don't have to pay for Vegas. You don't have to pay for any of the races. That would be the one series.
Yeah.
If I had to
Yeah, it
pay,
makes
if I had to,
Or WEC.
if you did like a report fan of Never Watch Again,
Oh.
that would be an interesting one because I feel like
Let's
F1
save
you
that one.
you instantly get the
Mm.
report. F1 instantly gets the report just because of the worldwide travel.
this is actually so easy. That's not hard.
It is a little bit easy. It's really just between like who do you put in never watch again and remain a fan of.
Easy. So easy.
Well, yours is gonna be IndyCar and kill NASCAR, so
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I
Sean
don't know.
has to think.
Yeah, I'm thinking actually I might. Well, obviously, I actually don't want to see you guys and work with you, so I would pick MotoGP.
Wow.
MotoGP would be a good one too. That's still worldwide travel.
Yeah, exactly. Same benefits of all the F1 stuff.
Wow. Ouch.
Can
But
still
okay,
enjoy
fair enough.
F1 and not be a job.
As you say, if you want to be really chintzy, you could say like, "Oh, I'm going to report Formula 2 or Formula Academy or Formula 3." So that way I get into the F1 event and I can be a fan of F1, but
not every
I don't have
single
to.
one.
Yes, but I don't have to pay for all of them. And they'll probably expand. Like I wouldn't be surprised that because there's no support race in Vegas. That's an easy one to add to a calendar possibly
Yeah.
for a lower series, especially now that you've seen the success of it.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be one
Well-
that people would want to travel to.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, I think we can wrap up, and yeah, we'll be back next week. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Spare Parts Racing podcast. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and follow the show on Twitter at Spare Parts Racing. That's Spare Parts RACIN, and on TikTok at Spare Parts Pod. Follow the hosts at Sean Chavarella, at Stephen Clary, and at Tay Moore.